Do you ever get to Friday or the end of your week and feel like, what even happened this week? I feel like I was so busy running in a million directions, and I am just not even sure what I accomplished. You're not alone. I have definitely felt that way many a time. And I know it's something that is really common when you have a bunch of goals and a bunch of projects and a lot of things that you're trying to do as a busy professional. And so if you are in a place right now where you're feeling like there's a million tabs open in your brain and your calendar is just chaos, or you have a bunch of calendars that are all chaos, this is a video for you. In this video, I want to walk you through the 5 major points that I go through on a weekly basis to keep things relatively calm, cool, and collected. So every time I start my week, I know there's a plan and I know what to be executing on each day so that I feel good by the end of the week and feel like I got a lot accomplished. If you are new here, my name is Morgan. I'm a physical therapist and a business coach for healthcare providers, PTs, and clinicians just like you who are wanting to start and grow their own solo cash-based practices and build a business that fits into their lifestyle so you can find the time, financial, and clinical freedom that you've been looking for. So if that sounds like your vibe, I'd love for you to stick around for this video. And you can also find a bunch more resources and videos here on the channel. Hit the subscribe button down below so that you don't miss any of our new videos that are going to be coming out soon. So let's dive into it with our weekly planning, weekly reset. That's the main title that I call it, is a weekly reset, but all of these pieces are components to the weekly reset. I'd love to know in the comments as well if you are somebody who does do weekly planning, what it looks like and how it's going for you, how it's working out, what you like, what you don't like, because I think that's like one major thing. One big takeaway is that whatever I share with you in this video, I'm sure some things are going to resonate really well and some things maybe not, and that's okay. Ultimately, you have to choose the best like weekly planning strategy that's going to work for you and what to include in it, but you're definitely going to feel like much more productive with a weekly plan rather than just kind of like flying by the seat of your pants. So let's get into what to start out with. Number one, of course, like we need to figure out what is most important to you in general. And that's probably a topic for another video, just overall like goals and life planning. But if you are aware of kind of like what your major goals and priorities are right now, considering those pieces, what 3 things are most important to you to get done this week? Because I am sure you have a list that is 20 to 30 different action items long. I know I have one in my own planner. And we have to choose what are the 3 major things that we want to get done, because we all love the feeling of checking something off, right? And like completing a task. And that's why it's so important to choose like our big 3 so that we know going into the week, if we're unsure of what to be working on, it should be one of those 3 things instead of doing like a little bit of work on this task, a little bit of work on this task, and then ending the week with like 10 different halfway finished tasks. So we need a big 3. And this can include stuff for your business. It could include stuff for your life. You might even consider picking 3 things and one thing, I guess, like from each category of your life. So for example, maybe like one business thing, one personal thing, and one family thing. So maybe that is working on your Instagram content for your business. Maybe that is working out 3 times this week for yourself. And then maybe on Saturday, you're doing a family outing. So like those are like the top 3 major things that you want to get done this week. And that is going to be our like bar for success. If we can meet that standard, we have had a successful week. And I just bring that up because I think it's really easy to fall into the trap of, like, yeah, I'm going to get those 3 things done. But if I don't get the other 20 things done, then the week was just like not a success. It was a total failure. And if you let yourself continuously fall into that trap, you're just never going to feel like you're making progress. And so to some extent, we have to retrain our brains what the measure of success is. For us, the new system that we're implementing is your big 3. That is the measure of success this week. And we absolutely have to complete those 3 things. If nothing else, those 3 items are going to get done this week. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then anything else that's accomplished after that, icing on the cake. It's great. So that's what to get started with. So number one, what are the top 3 things that we have to get done this week? And what I do is I have basically it's like a spreadsheet, but I have like a table in the software Notion for a weekly review where every week I write out my big 3 and it's in a box there. And then I use that little list, the big 3, to plot out the actual time on my calendar to accomplish those big 3 things. So that's something else that has been super helpful for me, especially being somebody with ADHD and not always having like a total awareness of my time. That's something that has been challenging. I always think things will take like way longer or way less time. I usually think things will take a lot less time than they do. And so a practice that I've gotten into is actually scheduling the time out on my calendar to complete my action items or my big 3. And I typically will purposely overestimate how long I think those things will take me. So if I think something is going to take me an hour to complete, I'll try to block out 2 hours. Most likely, something's going to come up and I am going to need the extra time. But other things you could do is write out your big 3 on a sticky note and put it on your computer screen. If you have a whiteboard in your room, you could write your big 3 there, but like making it somewhere that's visible is really, really helpful. Point number 2 is getting into time blocking. So going off of what I was just talking about with scheduling out time to do my big 3, I have also found that blocking out time to do things that I need to be doing on a regular basis, like creating content, doing like CEO planning, or maybe even like working on documentation and home exercise programming. Those might be like major components to running your business that you're doing on a regular basis. So having the blocks on your calendar can be really helpful so that you're not like scheduling over it. So you always make sure that you have time to do those things. I also really like the practice of having like client facing days and non client facing days so that my brain can kind of like stay in this mode of either I'm talking to people or I'm not talking to people. And that kind of helps me like mentally prepare for the day as well. So block out your core themes, whatever the major like buckets or components of your business and your life are on your calendar. If you can, leave 1 to 2 hours a day for flex time or buffer time, or like I said, whenever you're like blocking out time to work on stuff, give yourself extra time so that you know you'll definitely have enough time to do it. And in case anything comes up, you'll have the time already built into the calendar. And please, please, please protect the CEO time, protect your admin time. As your business gets busier and you get more clients, you are probably going to have the urge to just schedule clients whenever and wherever they want on any day of the week. And you might even end up like overbooking yourself. But as long as you are a solo person business, you have to protect that extra like working on the business time. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a cycle where things are constantly going up and down. Like that's a big piece of keeping yourself consistent, is making sure that you continue to have non-client facing time so you can keep doing the things where you're working on the business. And point number 3, kind of going off of the last point, all of these are just like flowing together. You can get into task batching. So as you're planning out your week and say you have like your client facing days and your non-client facing days, you're going to want to batch all of your non-client facing tasks, like making content, doing documentation, going through your finances, all on the same day. So you're just, sitting at your computer and going to town on all your tasks instead of having days where you do some admin, see a client, some more content, see a client, do this other thing, see a client, and then you're constantly like going back and forth and your brain always has to switch gears. You can batch things together even better. I've also talked to our students before about having a day where like you're just doing content, for example. So like if your admin days are Tuesday and Thursday, maybe on Tuesday, you're just doing content and creative projects, anything that's marketing related. And then on Thursday, it's things that are maybe like more administrative, finances related, systems related. So you can even like pare it down a little bit more like that as well. So your brain can stay in the same mode. Point number 4, and this is probably one of my biggest weaknesses that I'm working on, is building in recovery time. We all love our businesses and we want them to succeed and they're so much fun, but it's a lot of work, and we need to remember that we are doing this in order to build like a life that we love and not just be constantly working all the time. And we also have to take care of ourselves and allow ourselves the opportunities to recharge. So build in that recovery time and block it off as you would a meeting. So sometimes I'll even put stuff into my calendar and title the event like, do not schedule over this Morgan, you silly goose, please, for the love of God. Like, just take a break. And having that reminder in my calendar has helped me and prevented me from scheduling more stuff over all of it. You need a break. You need some time off. And so at least like a half day per week, just nothing, at least a half day a week. A regulated nervous system and a well rested person is going to yield a much more high performing business, I promise. And then point number 5, just kind of wrapping everything up, the weekly review and weekly reset. So at the end of the week, usually this happens somewhere between like Thursday evening to Sunday afternoon, just kind of like depending on what works best for you. I have been doing Sunday afternoons. I'm going to try out Friday afternoons instead. You're going to sit down and plan out the following week. First part of this is going to be a review. So looking at your previous week, what worked, what didn't work, what needs adjusting. If you're getting more advanced, taking a look at your data and your KPIs to see, did you meet your KPIs for the week? Did you meet the goals that you had for the week? Another piece is going back to your big 3 and seeing, did I actually accomplish the big 3 that I set out to do? So just a weekly review, and then taking a look at your upcoming week, making sure that your calendar is blocked out, choosing your new big 3 for the following week and plotting those out on your calendar. I always like to prep for my appointments ahead of time. So I'll take a look at the sessions that I have booked and kind of like pre-plan out what I'm going to be doing with clients, and then look to see if there is anything that you need to take action on from the previous week or anything else that you need to take action on for the week coming up, like client communications or sending out emails or messages to anybody about anything that's coming up. Those are all good like points to have in there. I also like to take the time to like clear out my email inbox and go through my planner or any notes that I have written down for tasks that need to get done and plan those out in the weeks to come. And one little thing that I've done that I actually really like to do, I think it helps with morale, is talking about the weekly wins outside of business related things. So just I'll list out, there's a section on my weekly review table where I list out anything that I've done in the past week that I'm proud of, whether it's in the business, in my personal life, in athletics, things with my family, anything that made me happy that, yeah, I'm just really happy about. I'll note that in the wins as well, so that you're kind of like ending and starting the week on a really positive note with a plan in place to continue to move forward on your goals. If you are ready to start having more focused weeks, more productive weeks, and actually having a plan with what you're doing, definitely start to implement this weekly planning and weekly reset ritual, because it is going to make a huge world of difference in making you feel like you are being productive and making progress towards your goals. And if you want more help building your business, building your practice around your life and not the other way around, and you would like help with starting and growing your own cash-based solo practice, we would love to talk to you. You can schedule a free consultation with myself or one of our other coaches at the link down below, and we'll look forward to chatting. But let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and then we'll see you on the next video.